Hi, I'm Jonathan Preskow from JP Fine Foods, and you're listening to us on the SME Stories podcast with Ken Alfred.
You are now listening to the next great small business podcast. Welcome to the S.M.E Stories podcast, where it is all about small businesses in Canada. And here's your host, Ken Alfred.
Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the show. We got a great episode today with Jonathan Preskow. Jonathan Preskow is actually the owner of JP Fine Foods. And just a little bit about him. So Jonathan Preskow has been at the helm of JP Fine Foods for the last 16 years. He graduated from the Ontario College of Arts and Design in Industrial Design before heading to George Brown to get his chef certificate. Jonathan worked for a few years at various different restaurants before deciding to tackle catering. Over the last 16 years, though, Jonathan has built a business by cultivating relationships and becoming a highly reputable catering company working all over the GTA. So if you remember before, we in the podcast, we had Aaron Okada, who took the food service more from the restaurant and chef's point of view. So now this is a different twist on it. We're actually still in the food service space, but now we're talking about catering. So being mobile, being nimble is going to be very vital from a caterer's point of view. So I think we're going to have a great episode today. I know John's got plenty of stories, so sit back and absorb. All right, guys, we have Jonathan Preskow from JP Fine Foods. JP, or should you prefer JP or John? Which do you prefer?
Just call, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just call. All right. So anyways, we got a great show today. We have John from JP Fine Foods. So John, how's it going? Everything ready? You good to go?
Fantastic. Ready to go.
Ready to go. All right. So JP Fine Foods, what's your story?
So it all started in 2006 with a dream to be an independent entrepreneur, and had no idea what that meant, but just dove right in. I actually graduated from the Ontario College of Arts and Design with a diploma in industrial design, which gave me a great foundation in putting things together and understanding design and experiences. And just something clicked in the last year that I was there, and just watching all the older, more mature students around me cook and experience, going to their homes while we're working, and like they're just whipping up these amazing meals. I'm like, this looks like fun. And I've always been one to watch TV and the cooking shows, Jamie Oliver, all of those things. My dad used to run around saying, like, go do something useful and productive. And little did he know that whatever I was doing, whatever I was watching was useful and productive. Just at the end of OCAD, I was just hadn't really found myself yet. So I did another year of school, went to George Brown to do my culinary certificate. So that was 1 year, and then came out of there and just started grinding in the restaurant industry, and realized the restaurant world wasn't for me. Brought them a couple catering gigs and got tipped out an extra $100 on a $4,000 event, thinking to myself, I think I'm worth a bit more than this. So I made the dumb mistake and started my own business. Like in retrospect, I wasn't ready to start a business, but I'm glad I did. And it's been 16 years and learned a lot of lessons along the way. Subsequently started another business as well with a buddy of mine. And here we are today.
Wow, that's a really great story then. So you figured this out on, like you said, your last year of OCAD, where you kind of had a feeling that you might be in the wrong, I guess, fields. So you thought, okay, well, I'll finish this off that I need to finish, and then I'm going to go straight to what I really wanted to try and explore. Is that correct?
Yeah, like growing up, industrial design was perfect for me because I wasn't like architecture. I didn't have the math background and stuff like that. But design was always something I was doing. I was always building things. I did really well in art class and stuff like that. So I thought industrial design was the way to go, and it was an amazing experience. But just something at the end left me a little empty, missing something. And I think the culinary school aspect satisfied that craving.
Yeah, and like I said, I know John mentioned to me this in a previous email, but I guess our previous guest, Eugene Parnell, John and Eugene actually went to the same school. I think they're in the same year. Is that right? So
Yeah,
you guys kind of knew each other, and I think
absolutely.
he did industrial design too, but he doesn't really do industrial design anymore, right? He's actually doing like art and mascots and props and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting how you know it, but I guess that creativity kind of blended well with when it came to, I guess, food, right? And I guess that's what we're here talking about. So I guess what makes JP5 Foods so successful? Because you said you've grinded, and you said for the last 16 years you're building this whole thing. So what makes it super successful?
I think what's made us successful are the relationships and the experiences that we've created for our clients. I think relationship building in whatever industry you're in is the most important part of any business. So um, I've just been going over my notes, and I've had a few clients since 2009. Like I've been up at one client's cottage every Saturday um, during the summer since 2009. Um, I've worked with a company called S.M.E Foods. They're a massive brand. I've been the owner's like basically private chef at the office since 2009 as well. So I think it's the longevity is creating those those like creating those amazing relationships and then nurturing them, and then always learning. So if there's themed night that we're doing, say we're doing Spanish for those customers, I'm always learning, grabbing new cookbooks, scouring the internet, um, and just trying to evolve my culinary skills while giving great customer service and just fostering great relationships.
Yeah, you talked about there, like nurturing the relationship. I think for a lot of small businesses, regardless of any field, is that they're almost quick to, quick to sell and quick to try and land the client right away. When in some cases they're
Mhm.
not really ready yet to actually buy your product or service, right? They could just be just remotely interested, and then, but by pushing on, it's almost like you're that. Like is that pushy car salesman the minute you walk into a lot where they're like almost swarming you to try and get you right away to buy, whatever. And I mean, the cars aren't available right now because of the shortages and stuff, but I guess that's what makes you guys really good, is that you're not rushing to try and land it right away, right? You're willing to get the interest and just nurture it and just making sure they don't forget you, because it's very easy to the point that you try to push too hard and they just want to step away, and you don't give them too much space. So that's interesting that you mentioned that. And actually, I'm going to ask the next one here that's more related onto that. So I noticed though you've been around for 16 years. Like, is there any plans of maybe growth that you're looking to do? Like, how much growth do you see yourself? Do you see JP Fine Foods achieving in the next year, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, we're always trying to grow and expand and recruit. For us, the next before COVID, we had an amazing corporate sales guy who pounded down all the corporate doors downtown, landed a lot of good business for us, and that all disappeared, and we had to let him go. And COVID really sucked the life out of the corporate world. But our plan is to hire another corporate salesperson, and really push that aspect of the business. Because that's the great Monday to Friday, the lunches, the breakfasts, the cocktail receptions, and then that'll give us the opportunity to continue to grow the private side of things and work more on larger scale events. So more weddings, engagement parties, the larger stuff, which I really enjoy and helps us showcase our creativity. So over the next couple of years, we want to continue to grow that aspect. Um, and in the middle of COVID, we actually changed our name. So we were JP Catering. I work with an amazing marketing company called Full Scoop Marketing, and they've helped me push the direction to JP Fine Food. So instead of being a caterer, we now have an opportunity to expand to a wider range of and things. Starting with, we could open up a little retail shop under the brand JP Fine Foods. and continue with the prepared meals and things like that. So over the next couple of years, we're going to focus on building back up to our pre-COVID levels, reintroduce the corporate, and then really start to think about the future of the brand and where we can take it and what we can do under this bigger scope.
Yeah, that's great. And it's interesting how you branded that, right? So originally you were known as JP Catering. So I guess when you were in discussions, did they feel that by just having catering in the name was going to kind of limit or pigeonhole you into like when people look you up, they're like, oh, if I want to buy certain foods, like, oh, this is a catering company. So they don't really sell to, average consumers. So is that what the mindset was?
Um, yeah, exactly. So I actually took the JP Fine Foods handle, like the URL, or what's it called? Yeah,
Domain?
the JP Fine Foods, the domain. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I took that probably 10 years ago with the idea of this prepared foods market side of things. So that's always been in the background, but I think it took COVID and starting the meal deliveries and um, the prepared foods and stuff like that to really push us into using that name and giving it its opportunity to really um, expand my business.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so I forgot to ask. So I guess when people are listening to this, they say, okay, so they do the catering. So are you able to break down a few other things that you guys offer as well? Because you said you're not just you provide catering, which could be like the biggest one you have. But I know there's a few others on your website. You have like delivery stuff. And this virtual event stuff was kind of interesting, and some private functions as well. Can you expand on a few of those pieces there?
Absolutely. So throughout COVID, it was grind or die. So we decided to grind it all out and um, really pursue any and every avenue we could. So the virtual events were a lot of fun. We delivered a box of food to each home. It had all of the ingredients portioned, ready to go. All of the guests log on to our Zoom link and I'll walk them through preparing the meal and they prepare it with me. So we're going slowly. Everyone's making their own sushi rice. They're cutting all the ingredients. And then we learned how to roll sushi. So that was one fun activity. Um, and then the meal delivery side of things, it's slowed down quite a bit with everyone getting back to quote unquote normal. But we were doing a lot of like a weekly drop of a new menu, and then people would have the opportunity to order a couple items or prepared boxes. So we'd have like a taco kit that would go out. You get your pulled brisket, all your tortilla shells, some pulled chicken, and then with our heating instructions, you warm it all up and you've got prepared meals ready to go. So we're working at rejigging that aspect of the business to be more like um, event event style, easy event styles in a box, basically. So you click on the website, you click on whatever kit you want to order or whatever um, the sandwich platters or the meal boxes or whatever it is, and then it just shows up to your house. So eliminating having to call in and speak to someone. It's just easy and simple meal deliveries or event deliveries.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. And when you touched on that virtual event, it just got me thinking. I know, was it what Gordon Ramsay tried something like that before? It was like broadcast TV where he says, "Okay, you're going to cook the same foods I am," but they kind of had to have the foods bought like prepared ahead of time. But I guess the best thing about yours is that literally they have everything there, right? So if I guess because but I think for Gordon Ramsay it was like live. So if you didn't have an ingredient properly or you didn't pre-cook, let's say the rice or something, you're kind of stuck. And it's like, oh, if I don't have this spice, I got to substitute for this, and then maybe won't taste the same. But yours, you're very specific that okay, there's really no excuse. You guys have all the ingredients, so it should taste exactly the same as if I made it for you myself, right?
Exactly. So we took the guesswork out of it and we gave everyone the right tools for the event. But yeah, it with Gordon Ramsay's and our boxes, there was a lot of a preparation that needed to happen ahead of time. So you have to communicate what preparation needs to be done, and then uh, and then you'll really be set up for success. It's like with any catering event that we take on, it's being organized, it's being ready to go with all the proper mise en place, which means everything in its place. You have to have your mise en place and be organized in this industry, otherwise you are in big trouble.
Yeah, and I think the pressure comes from, I think from a lot of people. They think, oh, they see the Hell's Kitchens and they see how crazy it is from the restaurant perspective. And I asked Aaron from the previous show, who's more of a restaurateur and is a chef, and he said, well, back then it was almost like it was very military, like how this kind of thing developed, where they looked at, sometimes the food servers were not the top of the caste system. They were more on the bottom. So they needed that organization structure of, okay, we got to cook this, 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 and this. Now, you're in the catering space and other things. Is it less hectic, or could it be just as hectic versus, because I think for the restaurants, it's like, okay, you got the customer rating right then and there. Right. And I guess, of course, there's
Yeah.
pressure, especially if you're delivering a lunch service or you're delivering dinners to, let's say, a corporate client. There's probably all that pressure as well. Is the pressure just as high or a little bit less than a restaurant?
Um, I'd say it's just as high.
Wow.
There's always that pressure because if your prep work isn't done, you're still rolling out to the event. If the event starts at 6, we're going to show up an hour and a half early. We have to be ready to go. There might be a little bit more downtime, and once you get there, it's you get everything ready, and then you wait. But it's the same in the kitchen where you get all your mise en place ready, and then you're waiting for the customers. And when the customers come and when it's at service time, there's that same rush that you get in the restaurant world, in the catering world, because you're thinking on your toes. If you forgot an ingredient, you're quickly looking to see if there's one around. You're adapting. You're constantly thinking on your feet. So the pressure, it, it it might not be the same, but it's still high in both scenarios. Just different issues, different
Well,
problems.
yeah, especially depending on the type of catering you do, right? So, like, and like I said, I'm very a noob when it comes to the catering service. It just seems like, okay, you bring in all the food, and obviously there's a prep area that you're going to get all the food prepared for, and then, like you said, when it's food service time, it all gets there. So, do you have like what's a typical catering job? Like, how many staff are you bringing to an event? Obviously, it depends on the size and scope, but is there rough numbers that if someone was looking to try to do their own catering thing, I should have X number of resources that are ready to go if I want to try to get this thing successful.
Um, like you said, there's a lot of different factors that go into deciding how many chefs, how many servers. In terms of the serving staff, we have ratios. So if it's a cocktail party, it's one server to every 25 people. If it's a seated dinner, you're probably looking one server to every 10 to 12 people. In terms of back of the house, it depends on each menu. So if I'm doing stations, I need to make sure that there's a chef manning each station. If there's 3 stations, there's probably going to be 4 or 5 chefs because you need someone in the back preparing your hot food and then restocking the stations. Then you need someone on each station. If you're doing hors d'oeuvres first, you're going to need someone to prepare the hors d'oeuvres while the other chefs are getting other things ready. So there's no real magical number in terms of, okay, there's 25 guests, you need two cooks.
Mhm.
It really depends on every single menu.
No, I think that's
And then you also have to look at the chefs, um, and how experienced they are. Like I can run a function and do um, a plate of dinner for 20 by myself, whereas if I'm sending someone else, I'm going to send 2 people to make sure that it gets done a specific way, or they have enough time and resources and just help for success.
yeah, no, that's great to hear. And I know this is another newbie question for me, but I'm sure this has happened. Have you ever ran out of a particular dish in the middle of a service? Knock on wood that we don't want that to happen, obviously,
Um,
but and what do you do in something? So you're putting it out there, and for some reason, the people really just love this particular dish you're working on, and they're filling up their plates. And next thing you know, you're like, oh wow, we're running really low. Do you have Has that ever happened?
yeah, it's definitely happened, but I'm like a good Jewish bubby where I really make sure that there's enough food to go around for everyone and then some. It doesn't, my accountant doesn't really like that because then your food costs go up a bit, but um, it's happened on occasion, but it's not something that happens all the time. Um, if it's usually one dish that we've blown out of, there's sometimes a backup dish. So if we're serving two types of protein and we run out of one, well, sorry guys, we've run out. Here's the other one. If there's not a butcher shop around, you're stuck with what you have. But it all comes back to the preparation and making sure all the things you have are there. It's knowing, okay, a dinner service, you're going to need 8 to 10 ounces of protein a person. So let's think about this. What's going to be more popular? Is it the fish or the filet mignon? So we're going to bring a bit more filet, a little less fish. So um, again, it just goes to being prepared and organized in the right
Yeah,
way.
because I can't imagine. Like, I mean, maybe it's happened, like you said, where you know you've had. Have you ever had to like send a chef? Okay, we're out of this. Quickly, go grab something from. Well, there's a butcher shop or a grocery store. I don't, can't imagine grocery stores nearby. Like, has that ever? I know it doesn't happen very often, but I'm just kind of curious. Like, when it happens to someone for the first time, what should they do? Like you said, if they either, like you said, if there's an alternate that's there, that's okay. We're out of beef and chicken, we're out of chicken. Okay, so unfortunately we're out of chicken, so here's just more beef. Or have you actually had to send someone in the middle of a service? Okay, you got to grab something and bring it back because we're just
Yeah, it's usually you recognize before
okay.
service. So there's been a couple instances where it's like, oh shit, if everybody orders cod, well, we're not going to be prepared. So I just send someone down, run to McEwen's, go pick up something that's going to be the same. You pay 700 times, 700 times the cost of what you pay wholesale. But yeah, we're, we're here to make an event successful. So that means you do what you need to do. If that means you run out and get stuff, you're taking a quick
Yeah,
run.
and that's great. So now let's talk about some of the expenses though. So what are some of like is the cost of food now? We hear about that now. The inflation rates are going up. Everyone's buying, everyone's purchasing power is getting less and less, right? Because the cost of food is high. So how big of an impact is that from the caterer's point of view versus just the regulars? Or basically it's the same? Because I know you guys buy in bigger quantities than the average, household.
Yeah, so we're sourcing things from multiple suppliers now. So in the past we've had one butcher shop, now we have three. So we're price shopping before we're purchasing. Um, I've actually recently in December I hired an executive chef for the first time. So I've stepped back from those responsibilities. I've brought on uh, an amazing chef who knows his numbers, and like each time you pull that saran wrap, that's 1 cent, 1 cent. So it's like you're thinking about these things now a little bit more with the right people in charge. So Vladimir has been sourcing different suppliers. He's been um, rewriting our menus, and we put out 2 menus a year to keep up with these issues. So if beef has gone up 30%, well, the dish at the end of the day is going to go up 30%. So it's making sure what we're purchasing the same quality at the best price we can, and then making sure we're charging for it accordingly.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. So what should I guess when people let's revert this back to just anyone here. If we're actually shopping for any kind of food, is there any general rule of thumb that you can tell from a high quality ingredient to like a cheap one, or is there something that okay, you can do a cheap one if you need to, but you're missing out on this, that, the other. Like I guess it's kind of hard because I don't do the grocery shopping in my household. My wife, Mrs. K, does it. So when she
Mhm.
says steaks are this much a pound, I'm like, is that a good price? Is that a bad price? I don't know how to compare that.
So for the average consumer, it's just about working with reputable people. So going to buy your steak from No Frills, you're going to get a No Frills. It's ungraded, meaning the fat content will be low. The flavor might not be there, might not have any age on it. Um, Whereas if you go to a higher end grocery store, like even somewhere like a Longo's will have better meat than someone else. Or you go to a butcher shop, that you know of. So in today's market, you just have to be a bit more wary of the different products that you're buying. So usually, if you cook fillets for your family, maybe you're going to go to a New York strip, something a little cheaper. Um, but yeah, it's about knowing where you're getting it from and just trusting their ability and treating yourself when you want to treat yourself to have something nice, and the rest of the time you might have to, your people right now are definitely changing their eating habits from a grocery
Yeah,
standpoint.
because I know before, like it's like you said, it hits everybody, and I feel like especially for businesses like yourself, where you're buying in such huge quantities versus the average family who's only buying maybe just enough for that day. You're buying it for events. You could be
Hmm.
stockpiling, especially for a very big thing. Especially if you're going to be doing multiple events throughout the week or even the month or anything. So you got to have enough stock in there. So that's interesting. So what other expenses though, aside from the food costs, that people who never worked in a catering company or thinking about becoming their own, like they want to start their own catering, the things that they have to actually keep account for, right?
Um, you need all your business insurance. You need to pay your accountant to do your corporate filings. Um, I when I first started, I opened up a corporation, opposed to doing sole proprietorship, because of the coverage you get from a corporate versus a private. Something goes wrong, I have a shell of a corporation to kind of protect me. So it's about, but then your tax filings go from a couple hundred to a few $1,000s a year. So you have to think about your food costs, your labor costs. How much is it going to cost you to have someone stand there and prepare it? Because we know we're paying our prep chefs 19 to 26 bucks an hour. If it's going to take them 3 hours, you have to make sure you're charging the right amount for that dish. Um, and then whatever other overhead you have. So we have uh, an office space, like a commissary kitchen. So where all of our work gets done. So we have the kitchen, we have to pay our electricity, our hydro. Um, and yeah, it's just being mindful of all of those different things. Then you start adding on your telephone, any subscriptions, all your computer stuff. Um, for us, we have a software program we use to create events, called Total Party Planner, and it really helps you organize all that stuff. So all of your, you can put your recipes in and adjust the pricing so that it'll help you. It'll guide you to the correct sell price.
Okay.
So there are a couple tools out there that'll help you. Um, ours are the big expenses would be the food, your labor, and then whatever other overhead falls under
Well, yeah,
that.
that's interesting too, right? Because I think for some small business owners who may want to do this, they're like, I guess I mean, I can't afford all this stuff that GP is talking about. So could I make it work in, let's say, your own personal kitchen? Is it possible? I guess maybe it's on a smaller scale, obviously. Like I don't think you're going to be doing corporate events unless you're making only one kind of dish, whether it's just a dessert thing or something like that, right?
Yes, but you legally you cannot work out of your own home. You need a kitchen that's uh, monitored by the city.
Oh,
So like
okay.
we have, all the restaurants have
Yeah,
the
yeah, I'm
green
sure it is.
tags. So we have one in our catering kitchen as well. So it's provincially inspected. Um, I did start out of my mom's kitchen because I think everybody starts. You got
Right.
to start somewhere. So it legally, it's not legal, but it's definitely something that people do. But having your own space and a proper industrial kitchen is quite important.
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly. So
Hey you, do you need a voiceover? Well, look no farther. Northway Capital Group has your answer. Commercials and explainer videos, AVR and voicemail, health and wellness, corporate training and e-learning, announcements, documentaries, and biography. Contact us on social media or email us at northwaycapitalgroup.com. To the S.M.E Stories podcast, which is owned by North. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Northway Capital Group.